body is very complex. It consists of different systems. Each system is performing specific functions. For example, the digestive system digests the food we eat and makes it available for the body to use it for various functions. Kidneys excrete waste products from the body. Dear students, our today's program is about the structure and composition of blood and circulation of the blood in the heart. All the functions are performed at specific locations in the body. The materials needed for these functions, or those produced as a result of metabolism, need to be transported from one part of the body to the other. From your previous knowledge, you must be knowing that blood is the main transport system of the body. It carries digested food from the intestines to various parts of the body, waste materials, for example, urea and carbon dioxide, to the sites where they are excreted from the body, secretions from the glands to different parts of the body, oxygen from the lungs to each cell of the body. In order to carry such a variety of materials, the blood needs to have a special physical and chemical structure. To understand the functions of blood, we must study the structure and composition of blood. Here I have some fresh blood in this test tube. Look at it carefully. As you can see, it is a red fluid of comparatively thick consistency. You can see it is a viscous fluid and seems to have no particles in it. Let us see if it has any suspended particles in it. We will leave this test tube for a while, and if there will be any heavy suspended particles, they will settle down. Now, can you see any difference between these two test tubes? In this test tube, the blood has formed layers. The upper, clear, straw-colored portion is plasma, while the lower, colored portion has the solid components, that is, the blood cells. To check it, if the blood has cells in it, we will examine it under the microscope. For this purpose, let us prepare a slide of the blood. This is a blood slide. Can you recognize the cells in this slide? There are three types of cells in this slide. These are red blood cells, these are white blood cells, and these are the third variety of cells, which is called the platelets. Now this card shows you the composition of the blood. Here is the plasma, which is a viscous fluid, and second is the blood cells, which I have already shown you. Now let's study the structure of plasma and blood cells in detail. First of all is the plasma. Plasma is the fluid portion of the blood. It is a dilute salt solution. An analysis of it shows that about 90% of it is water, which acts as solvent. Salts, which include sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chloride, and bicarbonates. Their main function is to maintain the osmotic balance, pH buffering, regulation of membrane potentials. Third main component is the plasma protein, which are of three types: albumin, fibrinogen, and immunoglobulins. Their function is to maintain the osmotic balance as well as for pH buffering, clotting, and immune responses. Fourth component are those substances which are transported by it. Nutrients, for example, glucose and vitamins, waste products of metabolism, respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, hormones, and heat. 45% of the blood volume is due to blood cells. There are three principal types of blood cells, namely erythrocytes, leukocytes, and thrombocytes. We will study them one by one. First, the erythrocytes. If you look at their shapes carefully, you will notice that these circular, disc-like cells are the most numerous of all cells. These are red blood cells or erythrocytes. There are about 20 trillion RBCs in the human body, or about 5 million per cubic millimeter of the blood. Average life of RBCs is 120 days. In embryonic stage, RBCs are formed in the liver and spleen, but after birth they are formed in bone marrow of certain bones like ribs and breastbones and at the extremities of long bones. When RBCs are formed, they contain a nucleus. However, soon after their maturation, nucleus disappears. If we look at these cells, they are like a ball which has a depression on two sides. That is, they are biconcave cells. These are very flexible and can be squeezed through hair-like capillaries. Erythrocytes are full of a protein, hemoglobin, which carries oxygen, and red color of the blood is due to this protein. If you study the structure of this protein, you will see that each molecule of hemoglobin are 4 atoms of iron. Oxygen forms a bond with iron atoms where there is a higher concentration of oxygen, and hemoglobin is converted to an unstable compound which is known as oxyhemoglobin. Wherever in the body oxygen is needed, this bond breaks and oxygen is liberated. Old and worn out RBCs are destroyed in the liver and spleen. When RBCs are destroyed, the hemoglobin is converted into bile pigment and iron is used up for the formation of new RBCs. A deficiency of RBCs causes anemia, which results in the deficiency of oxygen supply to various parts of the body. And it also causes many other health problems. On the screen, you are watching a blood slide. Besides RBCs, you can see a number of other cells. These are leukocytes or white blood cells. They are less in number than RBCs, only about 7,000 to 11,000 per cubic millimeter of blood. WBCs and RBCs are in ratio of 1:600, that is, for 1 WBC, there are 600 RBCs. WBCs are larger than RBCs and do not contain hemoglobin. There are several kinds of WBCs, each with a different function. However, all WBCs work for the defense of the body against diseases. They are not confined to blood vessels, but they also migrate out into the interstitial fluid. There are two major types of leukocytes. These are the granulocytes and the agranulocytes. Granulocytes are very flexible, nucleated cells of irregular shape with a fine granular cytoplasm. They are produced in the bone marrow and they are of 3 types. Eosinophils, which represent about 1.5% of WBCs, but their population increases in persons with allergic conditions like asthma and hay fever. Their granules stain red with acetic or eosin dye. Basophils are about 0.5% of the WBCs. They produce 2 important substances, which are histamine and heparin. Their granules stain blue with the basic dyes such as methylene blue. Third type of the granulocytes is the most important, and it is the neutrophils. These constitute about 60 to 70% of the total WBC count. They are actively phagocytic and protect the body against invading microorganisms. They engulf and digest the invading pathogens. Now, the agranulocytes. There are two types of agranulocytes. These are the lymphocytes and the monocytes. Lymphocytes are about 20 to 30% of the WBCs. These are formed in the lymphatic system and spleen from the precursor cells which originate from the bone marrow. They have a large nucleus which is round or oval in shape and only a small quantity of cytoplasm. Their major function is to mediate immune reaction such as antibody production, graft rejection, and tumor cell killing. Monocytes have globular nucleus. Dear students, now the third variety of blood cells, that is the platelets or thrombocytes. Blood platelets or thrombocytes are a very important part of blood. They play a central role in blood clotting. Now let's see how the platelets stop the loss of blood from a ruptured blood vessel. Platelets gather where a blood vessel ruptures and blood cells are coming out of it. The first platelets to arrive form a plug across the opening. They release chemicals that convert the liquid blood protein fibrinogen to insoluble fibrin. Fibrin forms a mesh of needle-like fibers that trap platelets and other blood cells, creating a clot. Dear students, now here is Dr. Zishan who will tell you about the structure of heart.
We will tell you about the structure of the heart. This is a lamb's heart. Lamb is a mammal. The structure of its heart is quite similar to the human heart. If you touch it, you can easily feel that it is quite strong. It is strong because it is composed of special kind of muscle fibers known as myocardial muscles. Now, if you look, you can clearly see different types of vessels arising from the heart. This is the pulmonary trunk, this is the aorta, and this is the superior vena cava. And this is the atrium, and this is the ventricle. Now, for better understanding, we will try to teach you on a model of the human heart. This is model of a human heart. From front, the major vessels can be easily seen. This is aorta, this is superior vena cava, and this is pulmonary trunk. Behind the major vessels lies the trachea, and behind the trachea lies the esophagus. Now, to understand the circulation and the internal structure of the heart, we can open this model. Now, we are looking through the right atrium. This is the superior vena cava, and this is the inferior vena cava. The superior vena cava carries blood from the head and neck region and the upper limb, and the inferior vena cava carries blood towards the heart from the abdomen, thorax, and the lower limbs. The function of the valve is to allow the blood to flow only in one direction, that is through the right atrium into the right ventricle. The valve prevents the backward flow of the blood. The valve is attached to the walls of the ventricle through the special muscle fibers known as chordae tendineae. The function of chordae tendineae is to prevent the overstretching of the valve during the ventricular contraction. From the right ventricle, the blood passes to the lungs. In the lungs, the carbon dioxide is washed out from the blood and oxygen enters into the bloodstream. Now, from the lungs, blood comes back again to the left atrium. From the left atrium, blood passes into the left ventricle again through a valve. This valve is known as mitral valve. This valve consists of two cusps. This valve also is connected to the ventricular valves through chordae tendineae. Again, the function of the valve is to prevent backflow of the blood. We can see through this red wire the direction of flow. From the left ventricle, blood passes to whole of the body through the aorta and its branches. Now, to understand the circulation of blood through the heart and the body, we have a simple diagram for you. In this diagram, the blue color shows the deoxygenated blood and the red color shows the oxygenated blood. From whole of the body, the deoxygenated blood comes into the right atrium. Through the right atrium, it goes to the right ventricle. And from the right ventricle, it goes to the lungs. In the lungs, as I mentioned before, the carbon dioxide is washed out and oxygen enters into the bloodstream, so the blood becomes oxygenated. And this oxygenated blood passes to the left atrium. From the left atrium, blood passes to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, the blood passes to whole of the body through the aorta. From the aorta, blood goes to the stomach, intestines, kidneys, head and neck.
Dear students, now let's discuss about the vascular system. It consists of 3 different types of vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. If we cut a cross section of an artery like this, we can see the structure of blood vessels. As you can see, the arterial wall has 3 different layers. This outer layer is made up of fibrous connective tissue. Now look at the middle layer. It is made of smooth muscles and elastic tissues, while the innermost layer consists of an elastic membrane called endothelium. All arteries except the pulmonary artery carry oxygenated blood from heart to other parts of the body. Arteries vary in thickness. For example, the aorta is a very large artery, while there are small arteries too, which are about 0.2 millimeter in diameter. These are named as arterioles. Veins carry blood from the body back to the heart. In the veins, the blood pressure is comparatively less than the arteries. Their walls are not so thick as are of arteries. Although they are composed of the same 3 layers as are of arteries, but they are not very thick. Particularly, the middle layer is much thinner and not so developed as it is in the arteries. The innermost layer of endothelium is absent in some smaller veins. Here, there is a vein. If we insert this pencil into it, you will feel that we can do it easily, only in one direction. It is difficult to insert the pencil in the opposite direction. It is so because there is valve which opens in only one direction. All the veins have valves which prevent blood from flowing in backward direction, thus keeping the blood flowing towards the heart. A third type of vessel, named capillaries, form a network in the tissues. They are of microscopic size and have very thin walls through which materials can be exchanged. Dear students, now let's summarize the program. The composition of blood. Blood is composed of a fluid part, plasma, and a solid part, blood cells. Blood plasma is composed of water and metabolites, waste materials, and salt ions. Blood cells are of 3 major types: erythrocytes, leukocytes, and thrombocytes. Now, the structure of heart. Heart is a muscular organ. Human heart is divided into 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. Right and left side of heart are separate while upper and lower chambers are connected. Dear students, our today's program was about the structure and composition of blood as well as on the circulation of blood in the heart. See you next program. Allah Hafiz.